What's up guys, welcome back to another video, and today I'm on my friend's YouTube channel, and then today we are gonna react to his channel because he reacted to my channel. I'm gonna react to him.
My parents, my mom and my sister are sleeping right now, so I might be talking a bit quiet. We are gonna react to my friend's thingy-majiggy. My friend's YouTube channel, so gonna react to my friend's YouTube channel. So if you wanna watch it, subscribe to him. So his YouTube channel is YoWolf120 YT. Okay.
This next video. And then, look, my newest video just like 10 hours ago. Okay. He didn't do that big of a video. So literally no point. So we are gonna go to r/. If you want to subscribe to him, he's r/. I got some that I did.
Welcome to r/Malicious Clients, where people always do what they're told. Many years ago, more than 15, I worked as a programmer for an oil and gas automation company. This means we would design and build the computer systems for oil and gas plants, commission them, and support the operators during day-to-day operations. Because of this, my company ran a 24/7 support phone. Every week, a member of my team would get the phone and expected to be available to answer calls 24/7. We had enough people on the team that it would roughly equate to getting the phone twice a year. Most of the employees of this company were salaried, and the 24/7 phone was written into their contract. For every phone call they took, they could charge a minimum of 1 hour in bank time. This was a good deal for them and made the 24/7 phone easier to handle. I was a little different than my coworkers in that I wasn't a salaried employee. I was an hourly contractor. My coworkers would bank their time, but I was just paid out bi-weekly. My contract also stated that if I was being paid by the company, I had to be available exclusively to the company. This was added by their HR department because a few years before, they caught an hourly contractor running side jobs for other businesses at his desk. This also meant that if they wanted me to be available exclusively to the company, they had to pay for my time. For 2 years, I knew the 24/7 phone existed, but had never had to take it because, according to my contract, if they wanted me to be available, they had to pay my hourly rate after normal work hours to ensure that I was available to answer the phone when it rang. Then, as in most corporate stories, my completely awesome manager left for greener pastures and was replaced with an absolute tool. After a month of being in the office, he decided it wasn't fair that everyone took turns on the phone except for me. He declared that I would be put in rotation effective immediately. I didn't want to cost the company a ton of money, so I tried to explain that if I'm on the 24/7 phone, that means they have to pay me 24 hours a day for 7 days. He scoffed and told me I obviously didn't understand how business worked. I told him he didn't understand how my contract was laid out and that I'm an hourly contractor, not a salaried employee. He insisted that to be a team player, I had better take the phone or look elsewhere for employment. I didn't want to seem like I wasn't a team player, so I accepted the phone and started my clock. 7 days later, I handed the phone off to the next guy and submitted my bi-weekly invoice. It came out to just over $10,000, with $8,400 being just that 1 week of having the phone. I waited about
Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome, dude. I have my accounts. Remember? So I subscribe to you on all of my accounts. You're welcome, my dude. Yeah, I know. You reacted to me. I watched that video and I reacted to you. Did you read? Hey, did you read in the comments? No, in your newest video. So if you wanna sub to me, you can. Just check your newest one. You see? So yeah, where? At my house, probably 4 p.m. Okay, bye.
15 minutes before I was pulled into the manager's office. When I arrived, the head
So guys, we might collab with my friend if if I can teach him how to free up space on his phone to get rid of pictures. So guys, if you ever want a game and you have a hell lot of videos / pictures, just whenever you like the YouTube videos, whenever they're up, posted, yeah, you can go to your camera, just delete it. It's not gonna delete the video. Just go onto your camera, yeah, or / gallery, yeah, and just go onto the videos that you have posted and just press delete. You have to press the trash can button and then press delete. So we're gonna go right back into r/boys.
head of HR and the manager's boss, the head of the department, were there with my most recent invoice sitting on the desk. The department head just looked at me and asked what the heck I was thinking when I gave them that invoice. I explained that the new manager insisted I take the 24/7 phone, even though my contract clearly stipulates that if the company wants me available 24/7, they have to pay me for every minute I have the phone. The new manager became redder with every word. When I was finished, the department manager turned to him and asked him why he didn't know this, since it's common knowledge that no contractors are ever put in that kind of position. As he was stuttering for an answer, the department head dismissed me and told me to expect my check at the usual time. The best part, during the entire week I had the 24/7 phone, it only rang twice. Both during work hours and both calls asking for a specific person in the department. All I had to do was give them a phone number. Those 3-minute phone calls cost that company $4,200 each. After that, the new manager pretended I didn't exist and refused to talk to me for 3 months until he was moved to sales in a different department. I was at the company for another 2 years and never saw that phone again. Honestly, that's too bad, OP, because $4,000 for 3 minutes of work is a dream job. For those curious, that comes out to $1,400 per minute, or $23 per second. And also, we had this awesome contribution from Kylerian down in the comments. Back in the late 90s, I worked for a NASA field experiment in the remote Amazon jungle. We had a satellite phone for which we were never instructed on when or how much to use it. Initially, it was used for contacting other researchers at other sites and for occasional calls to the US. I discovered it could also serve as a passable dial-up connection. So we started using it to check email, surf the web, etc. Also, during this time, Age of Empires 2 was popular, so I used the sat phone to play multiplayer. After 2 weeks of this, we get an angry visit from a supervisor who explicitly drove out from a nearby city to yell at us. Turns out, the data mode on the phone was much more expensive than voice, and we, mostly me, had racked up $40,000 in charges. Being a lowly graduate student, I didn't get in any trouble, and I think they were able to pay reduced charges. The officials who were in charge back then still give me a hard time about it 20 years later. Our next Reddit post is from Captain P42. This happened a few years ago. I was working at a large national chain restaurant as a manager. I was asked to temporarily reassign to a location in the city about an hour away, and accepted. They put me up in a hotel, the whole 9 yards. The first weekend I was there, I discovered that the general manager had screwed up and not any change. That is, small bills and rolls of coin for the safe, and that the local branch of our bank would be closing in the next hour. I also happened to have a personal account at the same bank and had, in the past, gone and gotten change from the branch back home. Since time was tight, I quickly looked up the address of the bank, grabbed $800 and jumped in my car. I get to the bank, wait in line, and then ask them to make change. $405 bills, $301 bills, and 100 in assorted rolled coins. The teller tells me that the bank doesn't make change. Me, thinking it was because they didn't know me, informed her that our restaurant had an account she could look up. She then told me, "No, we don't make change at all." The thought going through my brain was, WTF, you're a bank. I tried explaining the situation, but was quickly shot down. I left, went back to my car, then had an idea. I went back inside the bank with my personal checkbook, got to the front of the line, and luckily had the same teller. Before she could even greet me, I held out my checkbook and told her, I would like to close this account since this...
What the fuck? My phone just froze.
Wow.
This bank is no longer customer service oriented. She kind of rolled her eyes, but went about my request. Then she asked how I wanted my cash back. An automatic response, I'm sure, and one I was counting on. I said 405s, 301, 70 enrolled quarters, 25 enrolled dimes, 4 enrolled nickels, and 1 enrolled pennies. The rest can be on a cashier's check. No reason for her to deny it, so I got my change. And the following Monday I returned, closed out the other 2 accounts I had there, and I opened accounts at a different bank where I've been banking ever since. And if you think that was bad, Cheese and Onions posts a very similar story down in the comments. And it sounds like a totally made up Facebook post, but this story is actually 100% true. The Washington Post even wrote an article about it. A guy goes into a bank and needs to talk to the bank manager for a very specific transaction. The bank manager isn't there, so the guy asks the teller to validate his parking. The teller tells him that she can't validate his parking because he didn't make a transaction. He goes to the bank across the street and opened up an account. Then he goes back to the original bank and asks for his entire account of millions of dollars to be transferred into the new bank and to shut down his old account. After losing all that money, the teller validated his parking. Somebody got fired. Our next Reddit post is from PM Your Piercings. Despite working in a high-stress, high-tech sales role, I believe that when you're on vacation, paid time off, you don't work and disconnect. Whenever I was on paid time off and my manager would request something from me, I would email, "Are you asking me to work on my time off?" The answer was always something like, "Yes, I really need this done." After I worked, I would reclaim the vacation time in our employee portal. I saved every email. Last week, HR launched a new portal that allows us to see vacation time, sick time, etc. My vacation time balance was about 2 weeks short. When I alerted HR to it, they said that they took back a chunk of time I had reclaimed because they felt I was abusing the system. Then, I sent them every email from my manager asking me to work, documenting that it truly wasn't time off. I also included a link to the state law stating that even a minute worked in the day counted as a full day. I'm salaried. My PTO balance was quickly returned. Our next Reddit post is from Amarin. 5 years ago, I was hit by a car while riding my bicycle. The driver turned across the front of me, pretty much into me, and I had absolutely nowhere to go. I hit the passenger door of the car, then tumbled over the front of the car, still clipped into my pedals, taking it with me. The car was pretty damaged. I dented the door, scratched the paint in many places, ripped the door mirror off, smashed the glass, cracked the windshield, and dented and scratched the hood. My bicycle emerged fairly well. I think I broke its fall mostly. The front wheel was bent, the saddle torn, and the pedals and bar tape damaged from hitting the road. I broke my collarbone and lost a lot of skin in various places that hit the road. I trashed my helmet and my shorts too. The driver said, "Sorry, mate, I didn't see you," which was pretty obvious. The car was his daughter's, and he was taking his grandson out for ice cream. The poor little boy got covered in glass from the door window that exploded inwards when I hit it, but seemed to be okay. The driver gave me his phone number, and I took a photo of his driving license and insurance details, along with a pile of photos at the scene. Crucially, I got the details of 2 witnesses too before I passed out from the pain. This all happened on a Friday. I got patched up at the hospital, and my partner was able to get my bike home. Because of my broken collarbone, I was in a huge amount of pain while the doctors tried to figure out if it needed to be pinned or not over the weekend. On the Saturday morning, I called the driver, and his phone went straight to voicemail. I'd taken a good look at my bike and figured it needed about 350 pounds of parts: wheel, forks, saddle, new bar tape, etc. And something for my cracked phone screen. I guessed 150 pounds. On the message I left him, I said I wasn't sure if he wanted to pay for the parts or go through his insurance. His daughter called me back and shouted and swore at me for damaging her car. I explained that he turned across the front of me and it was his poor driving to blame. I mentioned that I was sitting on my sofa with a broken collarbone as a result of him, and all I wanted was to get my bike fixed. "You will never get a penny from me. Talk to the police if you want to. We will tell them that it wasn't my car. You will never get a penny from us." Okay, I can comply with that. I called the local police station and they sent a constable down to see me. I carefully explained what had happened and showed him the photos from the scene. The damage to my bicycle, phone, helmet, and shorts. Gave him the details of the witness and several cups of tea, and he advised me to get a lawyer on the case too. So I did just that. My bicycle insurance has legal aid cover, so I used it. Long story short, I had 3 surgeries on my shoulder over the next 18 months or so. The insurance details that the driver gave me was fake. The daughter's insurance company didn't cover her father as a driver. The driver had 6 points on his license already, but crucially, the police found he had insurance with a company that did cover him on her car, but only for third-party cover. He only admitted this when they threatened to charge him with driving without insurance and documentation fraud. The police eventually convicted him and gave him enough points to ban him for driving for a year and fined him £1,500 plus costs. The insurance company that he was with was one of those that only covers really bad drivers. Obviously, they didn't pay out for the damage to the car. This was probably another £1,500 or more. The insurance company paid for my bicycle damage. £550 once assessed by a local shop. They also paid for my clothing and helmet, £200. And my phone screen, £180. Then, finally, the insurance company paid compensation for my injuries and time off, etc. Which OP doesn't give the exact number for, but it's in the 5-figure range. So between £10,000 and £90,000. I would have been quite happy for them to pay for my initial assessment of my bicycle and phone damage. But as they wanted to make my life difficult, it cost them thousands. Got the driver banned, and the resulting compensation was a massive bonus for my savings account. OP really should have recorded that phone call for evidence. How dare you damage my car when we ran over you? You are such an inconsiderate, selfish pedestrian. Our next Reddit post is from Jumbo Face. This is a story of my mother's. She has always been incredibly hard.
Welcome back to another quick video. We are doing dodgeball. Okay, the rule is if you get hit, you're out. If you catch it, you get one of your team back in.
But we got trampolines!
And at the end, 5v1 versus the worst player.
Wait, what?
Making doubles as we go. Let's go.
I missed what happened.
Alright, back foot on the line. Are we ready?
What the hell was that? You're cheating! Come on! Bitches! Come on!
Come on back, boys.
Hey!
Wait, two, right?
Everyone Marcus, 3, 2, 1!
Oh, they're going every ball. Yes,
Got him!
I got relays. Marcus the gangster.
Catch!
No, you know you want to catch.
By the grace of the Lord!
He's going to catch it. I'm going to lightly run over because you're not allowed to jump. Good job. I'm not punching you. It's ready. It's ready. It's ready.
Who would have thought Newtown could be the dodgeball champion? Dodging ball, speaking of slow-mo replay again. Slow-mo replay again on the one that went through the legs.
We're not going to go for the touch anymore, right?
Okay,
It's
no,
not
we
good.
have to go for one person and then passing very quick.
Play it slow.
Push.
Slow game.
Throw as many balls as you can. Make sure they hit the enemy.
Play it slow.
Do you have any questions?
Play it slow. Just nice and slow.
Plan. What if I just sit here?
My socks are matching my shirt, by the way. I just like to.
How many rounds is this?
Best of 3.
Oh,
Yeah, no, first 2, 3. No starting early this time. Yeah! Wait for go, you cheats. Who's the cheating? Bitch. What the hell? They're going to target me because they know I'm the pro. Feel free to target him, honestly. Another ball. Didn't need that, but okay. One hit me down.
I call you back in anyway. There. Right behind you.
we'll get him next time.
Right.
I need water. come to the net.
Hold your fire! Hold your fire!
No, no, no! Hey, no!
Mark is out, by the way.
It's just bad. You got this. Well, Adam. I've been in this situation before, Adam.
No, honestly, kill me. Can we agree like an armistice for a second? Wait, what?
What's it?
I believe in you.
I do.
There's still a chance. In half time, I'm actually. Oh, he's a tall man. It's treachery.
It's weird, I don't think I'm that unfit. This is insane.
I'm definitely that unfit.
More water. More water, please.
What happens when you play video games for a living?
Summer, it's very hot.
It's hot, but it's essentially diving.
Are there even fans? Sport is really hard. Baz, you look like a tomato.
Oh my god.
Alright, if we win this round, we win. 1-2.
Guys, take the ball.
Just let us win, please. I'm so hot.
I'm so sweaty.
Let's win. Alright.
By the way.
Yeah. You know you got everything. Oh, we got it all. Get it all.
Hold the ball. Hold the ball. Intimidate.
Who are we targeting?
Wait, sir. Get ball. Get ball. Get ball.
How am I supposed to know that would happen?
I'm just happy it's over.
We're all the real winners here because we don't have to play anymore.
The Fatties win.
Now that one. 3, 2, 1. Oh, here we go.
No. Get ball back.
That's it.
Yeah. Get him, Lennon.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, okay. Funny, you just spun into that. Thank you so much for watching Click. Of course, we are the victors, me, Lennon, and Elliot. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Click. Today we're doing the Ninja Warrior course. We're each going to have a turn going through the course. If you skip one of these platform areas, you get 30 seconds added to your clock. The fastest time wins. Let's get it! Who's going to win?
Me.
Marcus. Literally.
Probably Marcus.
I'm
A
skipping.
lot of pressure on me, I can't fail.
There's nine courses. I'm skipping at least 8.
Oh,
Maybe I'll do one. We'll
that's
see if you like shit.
Thank you, Lennon.
Let's go, skip run! 3, 2, 1, go!
Alright, go on. 3, 1, go.
One go, one go.
One go.
Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, jeez, these count?
Actually, technically, that
These count!
It just doesn't.
going home.
Good versus phase.
We did it. The pressure was a lot, but we did it. That was I'm not following that. Elliot's up there. Look, I just like dive across all the blue ones. Like if I slide. 4 minutes? We should wait. Yeah, I'm gonna need more than 4 minutes. Do you reckon I'm gonna do this in 4 minutes? 100%. Fine, let's see if I can do it in 4 minutes. Alright, we ready? 3. Marcus, I'm gonna show you up. 2, 1. Let's go, boys. He's off. Oh, he's got pace. He's got great pace.
He'll go for the sitting strat. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even plan on going for the second one. It just sort of happened.
Getting tied up.
He's
He's already lost.
already lost. Can we see the ghost of myself right now?